This is Paul Stewart, and you listen to the AM Caffeine Morning Show.
Get your morning started the right way with the AM Caffeine Morning Show.
All right, AM Caffeine Morning Show's in the building today. You know, we try to always bring you special guests at least once a week here. And this guest that we have today, man, let me tell you, when we start talking about folks that have contributed to the hip-hop culture, to the music industry, and for me, being from the West Coast, and, you know, obviously rap music and the culture started in New York. So you start to, you know, hear about legendary folks that were behind the scenes. You know, if you're talking about Russell Simmons or you're talking about Rick Rubin. When you start talking about those folks and being from LA, you just had a certain vision of them, maybe of what you read, of maybe of what you've seen on screen. But being from LA, I was able to not only hear about this cat, but I actually seen my man moving around the city like he was actually the type of CEO, A&R cat that you could find at any damn club in LA.
Never hiding.
Was always out there doing his thing. The one and only, legendary as far as I'm concerned, Paul Stewart is in the building. And let me tell you,
that was nice.
That was a serious applause.
Brush off my own.
Hey, pop the collar. There it is, DJ P. Now, there's so thank you, Ron C.
Thank you, Ron C.
There's so many things that I want to address and talk about.
Let's do it
with Paul Stewart. But back when he was just extremely out there in the music scene, anytime you heard that Paul Stewart was having a damn party, let me tell you this. All the dips, I'm going to take you, I had to go with Honey Dip because you're in the building. All the dips was at the party. It was three people that knew how to throw a damn party. Paul Stewart.
Right.
Shout out my man, Fred Johnson, Visionary Casting. That was because he was a casting agent, so he knew all the broads.
Shout out.
John Stockton from Def Jam, who did promotion. Anytime I heard those three names, I knew the party was going to be off the chain. Paul Stewart, man. Paul, thanks for being our guest today on the AM Caffeine Morning Show.
Thank you for having me. I feel special to be here.
There's so many things that folks you may not know about Paul or folks behind the scene because you just see the artist.
Right.
And you don't know the folks that actually paved the way for you to be able to enjoy what those artists do.
Plus, I'm a low-key guy. I need people like you to toot my horn.
Paul,
I'm not going to run around and, how marvelous I am.
You've gotten more low-key as you've gotten older, I think. I don't see you as much as back then when you had a label, and I felt maybe you had to kind of be out there a little more, maybe.
Well, I think my whole career in the entertainment industry, I feel like I've been blessed, and it's still evolving. So, you were talking about the parties. Oh, wait till what I'm about to throw, because cats right now ain't really doing it right. To me, to some extent. You know what I mean? With LA, the party scene, you know what I mean?
Right.
It seems a little,
weak.
Yeah. You go to other cities and it's way fun.
It's way popping.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, LA's a unique kind of market and stuff like that, But like you said, I threw the parties out of love for wanting to do them. It wasn't a business for me.
Right.
And yeah, we had the women at my parties because that makes a good party, That's not going to change.
Right.
In fact, I'm casting a Busta Rhymes music video right now for the young ladies that want to submit.
Yeah.
That's $500 for Christmas money.
Right. And what type of submissions are we taking? Oh, wait.
Well, there's several roles. There's like a model-esque role.
Right.
That's going to be like body painted and going to be kind of like, and then there's like a dancer role. It was funny. My man said she needs to know how to make a clap, not with her hands.
Right, right.
So there's that, and then there's the baller chick, the one that all the girls want to do. She just looks real hot, and
right?
Smokes a cigar, and the boss chick.
So this casting is happening when, Paul?
Right now. Go to my Instagram, Paul_DJ_P_Stewart. We can talk about a lot of old stuff, but yeah,
I of course I want to give them the history, but I know you have so many things going on currently that I want to discuss.
Yeah.
So Ron C, real quick, here's what I want to do. Let's get into a mix.
Okay.
Play some joints. Right. Come back, and we're going to rock with Paul Stewart, the AM Caffeine Morning Show. Paul Stewart, you guys better strap on, man, because he's about to drop a lot of gems that folks don't know about. AM Caffeine Morning Show's in the building. Let's go, Ron C.
Here, man, we're going to go West Coast, because I'm a West Coast cat. Let's go.
Let it go. AM Caffeine Morning Show special guest today, man, the one and only legendary Paul Stewart in the building. So, P, let's get into it.
Okay.
How's a white kid from Baldwin Hills, California, getting to this hip-hop thing, man?
Man, well, first, I guess being a white kid from Baldwin Hills, California had a little something to do with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I was, like we were talking about earlier, by the time I left Baldwin Hills Elementary, there were only like 2 white kids in the school. So there were no white people in that part of, and that was the nice part of Crenshaw. Like, that's above the jungles if you don't know LA or whatever, right? So, so I lived all in, I just refer to it as Crenshaw.
Right.
When you drive up my street, you say you're entering the Crenshaw district.
Right.
Of course, I lived in Baldwin Hills, the Dons.
Right.
We had a nice view. There was a black judge and a black brain surgeon on my block growing up, and I lived right above the jungle. So, you get a diverse kind of outlook on life when you're around that environment.
Right.
And I got exposed to black music very young, you know what I mean? So, and all kinds of music. My brother was into rock, so I was listening to that, and then I used to buy 45s at the warehouse right there on La Brea. Then I started hanging, when I was in high school, I started hanging out with some cats from the neighborhood, and they were putting me up on like Cameo and all that, and I started really getting into...
were your parents musical?
Not at all.
So there was like not real music that you were hearing in the house, really?
Ooh. My dad was an engineer, and they liked like country music and like folk. My mom was into like folk music. Yeah, it was like, it was rough.
Were your parents cool with the people in the neighborhood? Like they?
Oh yeah. Well, you asked how I ended up there. My dad bought the house at like the height of the white flight because he was cheap.
Right, right.
But so they weren't like all hipsters in the black culture, like liking jazz or something like that. But they was not racist at all.
Right.
And my mom was real liberal, and my dad was just like a real kind of like nerd, just kind of a super smart like cat, And I learned a lot about. He really installed like the hard work ethic in me and everything like that. So it was strange, definitely. Like it was a different, because my household was super white,
right?
And I mean, like so I think it really worked in my favor, though.
Right, so absolutely. You got both sides.
That's I think why I was successful. I could go to any hood, swap meet, any party, be the only white person, feel completely at home, and then go in the boardroom with all white people, and and feel at home too. You know what I mean? Not feel like out of my element or anything. So I could wear both hats.
Right.
Still do. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. But I started DJing when I was in college, and
you went to college where?
I went to Sonoma State. I went to the Bay Area. I used to buy my records at Leopold's in Berkeley, and Bobby G's in the city, and so I went up there, and then I really got into music. Really got into music up there. I was DJing and throwing dances and booking groups, and buy a 12-inch buyer at the record store, and I didn't even realize I was like prepping myself for a career in the music industry. I didn't even have any idea there were careers in music. I was just doing
what you love.
Music. Right. And
so when you went to college, what did you go?
Photography. At Venice High, there was this great photography teacher, and I fell in love with that, and that was like my first creative love. And then I was already really loving the music, but not as deep into it.
Right.
And then I realized when I went to school, I wasn't that good at photography. I was okay.
Your photos were kind of flashy a little bit.
All these cats from the class had gone to like big art schools, everything. My pops wasn't paying for that anyway.
Right.
So that wasn't happening.
That wasn't happening.
No, but even at my little school, I wasn't the best. And there wasn't even an art school, so I was like, But I just gravitated to the music, and that always gave me a visual eye, and I picked a lot of big directors later and stuff, and I think it helped me a lot, but
So when you finish college, so you're up there, you're kind of getting
Right.
your chops, learning more about music. When you finish college, then what was your next move?
Ooh, well, I came back to LA and didn't know what to do. I was back in Baldwin Hills, staying with my parents, and that wasn't
the business at all.
No, they weren't having it. And eventually, I got an internship at Arista Records, and I was working at a little record store, and I was still DJing, and my DJ thing started to pick up, and I interned, and I got little jobs. And
who were you interning for at Arista at the time? Remember who it was?
Dean Porter.
Okay.
Yeah. It was in the retail side. you know?
Okay.
And then I got a job at Delicious Vinyl. So I was working with record stores and everything, same thing.
Right.
And I was working Young MC's record.
Shout out Marvin.
Yeah, right. And Tone Loc's record and everything. And then I got a job on Matt Robinson. He had a little company. And then I was like the VP of A&R for like 6 months. Then he lost the label. Right? So then I didn't have a job. And I was all like, thought I was gonna get a job. And nobody wanted.
No one would hire you.
Nah. And
which seems kind of at that point. So now you're really
lack of
understanding
vision on the record label side, right?
Right.
But I hadn't discovered anybody famous yet or anything really, so no one really.
So at this point, you had lost the job.
Yeah.
Did you know what you wanted to do? Like, was it like in your mind? I want to help. I want to find artists. I mean, did you have an idea of what you wanted to do? Not yet.
Not really. I mean, I was doing A&R for Matt at his label, so I was kind of, and I signed to Funky Town Pros, which are local favorites or whatever. But I was still figuring it out. And then Curtis Harmon came to me, a DJ at K-Day, and he said, I got this street promotion gig. I don't know what that is. You want to do it with me? And I said, okay.
Sure, let's do it.
Right. And so I started a street promotion company, and I worked that record with Curtis, and then I started doing everything for Tommy Boy, like De La, Queen Latifah, was working Cypress Hill, and so I started doing street promotion. And that led to the management, and then I discovered a bunch of big LA artists. And then
what was the first act that you managed?
There was a girl named Vicky Calhoun who sang with Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I got her like a little demo deal. But really, it was House of Pain. I got them their record deal with Tommy Boy, and it was promptly fired. But that didn't last long. And then I found The Far Side, which went a lot better. So I worked with
absolutely.
Them.
So now I want to get into that because I of course, I'm very familiar with House of Pain.
Right.
But The Far Side for me, because I grew up, we were all dancers in the dance scene. So I was cool with them when they were 2 for 2 before they became The Far Side.
Right.
And to me, The Far Side is one of the most important groups on the West Coast because I feel they changed the landscape of music from going from the quote-unquote gangster rap, which I hate to call it that, but going from the NWA era into then when you had it became more of the hip hop culture.
It was
to
more
me
diverse, so we had a fun side. It's like, come on, we're not all like, we're
not all doing that.
Come
exactly.
On, everybody ain't banging. Come on,
right?
And they were the epitome of that. That's what they were talking about. That was their whole thing. That was their whole. What they were about, like, hey, we're not bangers, right? The girls passing us by, we're in the little car, we're not balling, you know what I mean? And so, let's keep it 100 like that. And I was always, right after that, I found Coolio, and he was on some same thing, like I'm getting in the county line with it. So I was always attracted to things that
were real, right?
Or a little maybe different, has, a little appeal, or whatever. And I mean, but The Far Side, the fact that they're still so relevant today, and all these kids like them,
and it's come full circle.
Yeah, shows you that.
Totally.
Yeah, like, it's funny, like, there's a lot of things I've done, but that's, like, the coolest still. Like, even more now, people come to me, oh, this dude discovered The Far Side, and it's like, that's like my cool card. Like, you can say, this might be whack, that might be, you can't really take that.
You don't ever say it about The Far Side.
How's your relationship with those guys?
Oh, great.
So
Great.
So, P, when you find The Far Side,
I'm cool with both Far Sides.
Both Far Sides, right. Trey
Love
and
them
Lip,
all.
exactly.
Love them all.
Lip has been up here.
Yeah.
Did you have a demo? What was the process?
Well, when I first met him, let me tell the story. It's hilarious. We was in a hotel room at like 3 a.m. under substances, probably, they grow in the ground or whatever, and definitely like some alcohol and all that. And Razkaz brings him up to the room, and he was messing with Lano Brazil, and Elo goes, rap. He goes, these are rappers, and he goes, rap for this dude. He gets people deals, pointing to me.
And you hadn't got anybody a deal yet?
I gotten House of Pain.
House of Pain, right. Okay,
but so it was funny because like Albie from Tommy Boy was in the room. There's some people, but Elo, shouted me out.
Shouted you out,
and
right.
they got in a little huddle, and they jumped out and they did Your Mama, which was the only song they had as The Far Side at that time.
Right.
They were 2 for 2 before.
Right.
And they started jumping on the bed and everything like that. And we were dying. It was so hilarious. I remember the next day I was to my homie. I was like, were they that good or we just that?
Were we that just faded, right?
But so then back to LA, I met with them, and eventually we shopped the demo. They were still, I met with Jay Swift and everything, and they had the 3-song demo, which had Officer, Passing Me By, and Your Mama.
So obviously those 3 songs make
So
the
a lot of A&Rs
Bizarre Ride to the Far Side.
should be really mad at themselves.
Idiots.
They slept on the demo that had Passing Me By.
Now, who did you take it to, Pete? To everybody? Or did you have a lot of relationships that labeled it at this point?
Well, I do want, a lot. I do want to say that Jive wanted to sign them, and we were already like, the guys were so burnt on the process, and I met Delicious, they were just like, let's just sign it Delicious. The whole thing, they're not business guys. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
The whole kind of like
going through negotiations and all that back and forth.
We wanted to sign to Def Jam, but Def Jam wasn't feeling us. So,
you know what?
Tracy Waples came to our little one room. When I started managing the Far Side, I lived in a 1-room back house on Highland and Sunset. And when I started managing them, their manager who they had at the time, was putting them up in an apartment, kicked them out because they said, well, we're going with this new dude.
Right.
They all stayed in
your apartment.
1-bedroom back house. And she came to, Tracy Waples, cute ass, came to visit us.
Right.
I remember they were enamored.
Tracy was
everybody
cute.
went the Def Jam jackets. And
that was the whole thing. Like, if you had a Def Jam jacket, like, that was everything.
Def Jam, that seemed like everything.
But Pete, to be honest, and looking back at it, I don't think you get the same Far Side on Def Jam that you get with Delicious.
You could well be right. I mean, the first single didn't pop, so you never know. Some labels might have been like,
not even have thought about giving them a chance for another single.
Yeah.
Do you think, was that the right decision to put out that single, Your Mama, or would you have gone with something else?
Man, I never really look at old decisions and try to like go back.
Right.
Who knows? Sometimes I wonder if we had signed into Jive.
What would have happened?
Yeah.
Because I think even back then, Jive probably had more of an independent
Jive
mind.
had Tribe.
Right.
They was doing quite a job with Tribe Called Quest.
Right.
They didn't really quite do Souls in them right, but they had that and everything, so it was kind of.
I think Soul's first album, though,
they did right.
And then there was a change.
Yeah.
So now, Pete, so you have Far Side, you had already did House of Pain, Find Coolio.
Warren G and Coolio were next. Yeah.
How does the Warren G thing happen?
Well, I was really lucky to meet John Singleton early in my career. I was still DJing, and I was DJing on the set of. I DJed on all these TV shows. I don't know if you remember, but I used to DJ for the set of the Fresh Prince TV show for like the first 5 seasons, and that led to like Martin. I did the Martin show, and then I did Patti LaBelle show called Out All Night. So
what he's saying is, when you go to a taping of a TV show, he DJs to keep the, trying to keep the energy up for the studio audience.
They used to have stand-up comedians, and Benny Medina had the idea to use a DJ on Fresh Prince.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it was like the first or one of the very first.
Really?
And he offered the job to Matt Robinson. And Matt said, nah, I'm too fly, I'm too busy. But hire my little homie, DJ P. And so that changed the game for me. I met so many people. I DJ'd Will's first wedding, and
dope.
Yeah, but anyway, so I was DJing Out All Night, and John Singleton came by the set, and we started talking, and he asked me about what I do, and I said, yeah, I work for Ice Cube. I work for Street Knowledge. This is how long this ago was. It was in the 60s. Street Knowledge was in the hood. Imagine. Right. I was in what they call the dungeon, where the DJ Pooh used to be. There were like 5 employees, and I'm like, yeah, I work for Street Knowledge, work for Cube, and I manage the Far Side. So John was like, wow.
He was in.
He's like, I want you to come and run my label and music supervise my movies. So the first one was Poetic Justice. So my first movie, I'm working on a movie with Tupac and Janet Jackson.
That's crazy.
Right.
Come on,
white boy from Crenshaw does
Come
good.
on, dude.
Right.
So how long was it, Pete, from that initial meeting with John Singleton until you actually was like cemented and working?
Oh, it's fast.
Was it?
It was pretty fast.
So now while you're doing that, are you still managing these groups, or did you kind of just...
No. When I started the thing with John, I was like, but I'm managing all these groups. And he goes, okay, well, I want to manage groups too. So we were partners in the management company. And I had Coolio. He wasn't out yet. I had Far Side. And we're managing Warren. We found Warren through the process of working on the Poetic Justice soundtrack. Because Warren, it's a famous story. Warren's been talking about it in all the interviews. It's real nice how he tells it. But, when I was at the studio, he's like, hey, cuz, I got my own stuff. He's like pulling my sleeve, I said, okay, went out to my truck. We popped in the tape, and he plays Indo Smoke. Thank you for dropping that in
Shout out Mr. Grimm.
Yeah. And it goes through the first verse and the hook, or and I just ejected it at the hook, and I was like, gave it back to him. And he's looking at me crazy, like, well, I'm like, we're doing this.
It was a done deal.
Oh, yeah, my ear's solid. I know immediately. I hear something around the corner, a little bit of it. I know if it's a hit. Still.
So then you would sign.
Labels, you're sleeping on me. I could be a great A&R still. I'll take any jobs that'll throw my way too.
So you signed Mr. Grimm. At that point,
we signed Mr. Grimm and we start managing
Warren G as a producer.
Right, because we were really looking at him as a rapper.
Right. So then when does the whole, like, damn, Warren can
Chris
actually...
Lighty. All love,
Violator.
R.I.P. Chris Lighty.
Yes.
Much respect and love to my brother Chris Lighty. He calls me and he goes, who's the guy rapping in the second verse? And I was like, oh, you mean Snoop's DJ, Dr. Dre's brother? Next thing you know,
he doesn't even have a name,
no,
really.
Russell Simmons is calling me, next thing you know. And the funny story about that was I was at John's Company, New Deal, and Russell calls me and with that heavy lisp, and I had met him but didn't really know him. He said, hey, Paul, this is Russell. And I was like, yo, I thought it was one of my friends
playing with you,
like,
BSing with you.
I was like, I'm busy, man.
Right.
Like, I don't play basketball all day, every day anymore. Like, I got a real career now. I thought it was one of the little homies.
You start feeling it, right? You was feeling
cussing
yourself.
Russell out. No, Paul, this is Russell. Oh, whoa, this is Russell. Yeah.
So that was your first conversation, really, with Russell Simmons, definitely on the phone.
Well, I knew him. Like I said, he slept on the far side, and we had some little dealings. But it was kind of like, yeah, I kind of know.
So
this dude,
that
but
phone,
but I don't really mess.
So that phone call was about, he was calling about Warren G.
Yeah, and it led to me like opening up their West Coast office, and I became the senior VP of A&R for Def Jam West, and yeah, they gave me my label, PMP, which was the street promotion company. So
right. So what did you sign?
Where I signed Montel Jordan.
Okay, so was that the first artist that you signed for Def Jam West?
Yeah,
was Montel Jordan?
Yeah, I told him about Domino. They had signed Warren, on my...
Signed Warren, right.
He was my management client. That's right, Ron C. And, my favorite DJ, Ron C. And,
how do you find Montel Jordan? Now, Pete,
all props to John Singleton.
I have nothing but the utmost respect for you.
Right.
But anybody who knows me knows there's two songs
that you hate?
That I hate with a passion.
Well, look where dude's career went.
Yeah.
And one of them is Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. Well, and the second one,
hopefully it's not mine.
It's Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac.
Okay, I could feel that. Yeah, well, all my homies have been like, Montel's whack. Nobody I knew would listen. We were in the Gang Starr, you know what I mean? Like, we're like,
what was it that made you just believe in that?
Well, I've always had a little bit more of a commercial ear, and I've had both, and so I seen this tall, brother that I knew girls would like, singing over, Dre beats,
right?
Singing, and I was like, this is the new thing, because it was always like, everyone's starting to sing. The whole Mary J. Jodeci thing was blowing up in New York,
right?
We didn't really have the equivalent, so much out here, Nate Dogg was just starting and all that, you know what I mean, and so.
When did you take him to any other labels, or you knew because you were at Def Jam, you had to sign him there?
The story is really interesting because I met him because he was a fraternity brother of John Singleton. I met him when I was at New Deal Records.
Okay.
And he came in and sang, and I was like, hey, John, this dude's not bad. You should check it out or whatever. And, so we were checking him out or whatever. And then I left abruptly to go to Def Jam. And being the loyal...
How did John Singleton feel about that?
He
wasn't feeling that.
My good friend John that I mess with very deeply was not feeling that at the time, right? But I'm a loyal dude, so I didn't want to mess with him because I met him through
John, and you weren't at that, and you weren't working with him anymore.
Right. Uh-huh. But then he started calling me, and like John's not taking my calls. And I was like, John's not really serious about music like that.
Right.
I'm not there anymore, and so he don't really have nobody, and so no reason to just So hey, let's go over here. Yeah, right.
And with Russell,
right? And then it's funny. We flew out to New York, and I remember he was singing for like Andre and Chris Rock and Russell and like Russell's Penthouse and everything. And man, like his mind was blown. I pushed a napkin in front of that dude's face right there. He would have signed it like, But it was good, and they were all excited about him and everything, and
that's that.
Yeah.
So. Then after all that piece, so then you get your own situation, which is it was a PMP through
Def Jam.
So Def Jam funded the situation, or was it a partnership? What was it business-wise?
That was they were giving out what they call production deals at that time. So basically, they fund everything, they approve everything, and they give you a couple points. It's kind of a vanity thing,
right?
And they build up your brand.
So
but they own
right.
Yeah.
What was the first artist that you signed on PMP? Was it Adriana Evans, or am I wrong?
Well, after the Def Jam deal, eventually I got a deal at Loud Records for PMP.
Okay, and what was under Loud? What did you sign under Loud?
Delinquent Habits,
right?
Adriana Evans.
P, I think you were, and it's obvious if you look at your career, you were
ahead of my time on that. Yeah.
You were so ahead of your time with Adriana Evans. That seeing is believing is my mother effing joint to this day.
Yeah.
And I just you were so, that was obviously before, and I don't want to put it in the neo soul, but that was before Jill Scott.
It was right.
That was before all
Erica,
that.
Yeah, it was right. Yeah.
Folks weren't ready yet for that.
Yeah. No, there wasn't quite the outlets for it and this and that. Yeah. That's okay. It stands the test of time.
No,
I put out an independent album with her a couple years later, 10 years later, that I think is great.
No, I thought she was really dope. So then you have Delinquent Habits, you have Adriana Evans, you had the Fly Office over there, I believe it was on Beverly or 3rd. You had on the Penthouse. I was there when you had the party.
Right. Famously depicted in the movie Rhyme and Reason.
Right.
Biggie and everybody else.
I was at the party.
Right. You're probably in the movie.
Hey, where's my money? So what happens? How do you lose PNP? What happens to that company from the record side? Were you not selling any records? What happened?
Well, a few things happened. One, I had most of my big hits as a manager. Like Montel was on Def Jam. But the stuff that when I got the deal with Loud, it was a big deal. You're talking about that big office and everything I had. You know what I mean? So my overhead was
crazy.
Yeah. I remember I met with Rick Rubin before, and he offered me a deal, but it was going to be way less money. He was like, keep your overhead low. I was like, what is Rick Rubin
talking? What do you know?
He wasn't like all hot like and all that too. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, come on, Rick. I need my own mix show person.
Right.
Corny, and but in retrospect, maybe I was doing it too big. Plus, I think I got a little out of touch. I wasn't in every club quite as much, and you're talking about Montel Jordan. I signed some questionable things trying to repeat that formula.
Which was what?
Oh, I'm definitely not naming any names.
Damn.
Come on.
But no, artists that, I did have a dope group out of the Midwest that was on some little Bone Thug stuff that Mac 10 signed later. But I was trying to do some R&B hip hop stuff. More we'll create dope songs and, instead of just finding things that were naturally really great.
Organically fly.
I've always done my whole career.
Right.
And thinking that I really knew what was up.
Right.
Did anybody ever try to pass you their project and you were like, nah, and then you heard about that artist later on and they kind of blew?
My ear's too good for that. But we did have Eminem's demo at our office. Right. And it's sad. And it had that song about driving off the cliff with this girlfriend in the trunk.
Stan. Right. You had Stan?
A lot of people had it. The thing was, that was at the end of my deal with Loud, where my second deal was after the Def Jam deal. And I had all these groups. I had too many groups, and the deal was kind of coming apart. You know what I mean? And, I don't know. Trying to sign another artist wasn't really,
that wouldn't be right. You're like, I can't even keep the stuff that I got now.
I don't even really think that would have been in the bidding for him per se. But, shout out to JT, Justin Trugman, who did bring the demo to the office, and we heard it. And, if I slept on something, maybe not trying to I almost signed Tyrese to my label. I was really close to signing Tyrese too. He said some nice stuff about me in his book.
Wow. So, damn, Paul. Eminem, that's crazy.
And Tyrese.
Right. Man, you know how I'm not the biggest Tyrese fan. So, P.
Yes.
You do all that stuff.
Yeah.
At what point, because I think at one point you kind of got burnt out a little bit, right? Would you get a little obviously we know the management thing can burn you out.
Sure.
You had did the label thing.
Well, I won't say I got burnt out, but my career has taken a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
And my career certainly wasn't as high profile after that as it had been. You know what I mean?
Did people stop taking your calls when you weren't as hot?
Oh, man, this industry's the worst.
No.
The worst.
Who's had your back?
Cats you put on don't even take
you're speaking to the choir, brother. But who had your back? through thick and thin, who was this like one or two people that you felt like at any point in your career you could reach out to?
Definitely want to shout out Josh Levine for putting some money in my pocket when I needed it most, giving me some marketing gigs and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. It's a short list. There's other people for sure. A lot of people. There are a lot of good people that looked out for me. John Singleton more than almost anybody, for real. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I understand. You got to really dig to find them people.
That's how this industry is.
So, what kept your juices flowing that you still wanted to do it? That you still, because obviously with all the music supervision that you've done up until today, all the films,
sure,
Hustle and Flow,
yeah,
like we're talking about.
But that was Hustle and Flow was really nice for me because it was like I hadn't had something that substantial in a few years.
You
know that I was known for.
Who put you on that?
John
Singleton.
Yes.
John Singleton. Yep. So like I said, I owe my man a lot,
right.
I mean? And it's crazy too because I hadn't worked with John for 10 years since we had that little
fallout.
And then
right.
He calls me and he's working on Fast and Furious 2.
So he just called you out the blue. You hadn't spoken to him.
No, we had been seeing each other, of course, everywhere because we run the streets.
Right.
So and we've been getting cooler and cooler
right.
as time went. And then he called me and he said, "I'm working on Fast and Furious 2. You want to work with me?" And I said,
"How can I not?" Right.
And then while he was doing that, he said, "Here's this other project I'm trying to do," and he gave me the script, and I just lost my mind.
The Hustle and Flow.
That's how important it was going to be for my career.
Right.
So I worked literally on that project for like a year before it even got started. I was just like, what do I do?
Right.
There's the lesson, kids. Like, if you see something good, go for it.
You got to go for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry about the initial paycheck.
Right.
Just try to get in where you fit in.
Right. So Hustle and Flow goes on to do what it does. And all the critical acclaim and everything. Yeah. So then, obviously, once that blows in, I'm sure folks are really on you after that.
Well, yeah, it's funny, like...
Because now you're hot again.
Well, it helped my music supervision career a lot, you know what I mean? And with certain people, it's added a lot of cachet, but a lot of people in the music industry are funny. It's like, if you're not doing what they're doing...
Right,
then they don't, so... No, man, I got nothing nice to say about most of these industry cats. You know what I mean? But
me and you both do.
But I love what I do. I wouldn't know what else to do. So
right.
when you the answer to your question was like, what else am I gonna do? Like it wasn't even like, do I still have the passion for this?
It's like I don't got no damn choice.
Thank you.
Right.
So it's survival. You know what I mean? So, but I've been blessed, man. You know what I mean? And I'm like, right now, it feels amazing because. I booked this HBO show called Insecure, which is an amazing filmmaker named Issa Rae from Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw.
Okay, from the hood.
That's right. And I'm working with John Singleton on this show called Snowfall, which is going to be on FX. And it's a pilot right now. But in the trades, they call it Boys in the Hood meets The Wire.
Wow.
Right. So it's just like I'm working on two. And Issa's got amazing taste in music, like John. And her thing is new and current. John's thing is a period piece that takes place in 1982, the year I was a senior in high school.
So music, all that music.
All it, right. And so it's like I have these two dream jobs, you know what I mean? And my book company is doing really well. Like, it's like this has been my passion project, I've been building this book company trying to culturally tell our stories. This is kind of like the natural growth of everything that I've done, the book company, right? And we just dropped this book called Definition of Down. It's Darlene Ortiz memoirs.
Shout out Darlene.
Right.
Spoke to her 2 weeks ago, and
got to get her on.
We actually. She said she was going on a book tour for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
she was going to New York.
We went to New York, killed it. We did Hot 97, Vibe, Complex. This is 50, OK Player, Combat Jack.
Everything. All of my favorite shows that you just mentioned too.
There was a club in the morning we didn't get, but screw them. Busters.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
How you sleep.
People say Hollywood people are fake. Yo, New York people are the worst.
Oh.
They feel like they don't even got to get back to you if they don't want to.
Right.
Talking about.
Right.
Well, P, I'm glad that you took the time to come rock with us, dog.
Oh man.
So how do you get involved with Darlene's book? Was it done, or did she come with you and say, "I want to work on this"? How did that work?
Man, shout out to my man Jeremy. Is working with a company called Primitive, and they hit me up about using some of her images for a streetwear company. And I hit her up because she's my friend. He figured I'd know her.
Right.
And she was like, I go, what's going on? And she was, oh, I'm working on this book, or I'm trying to get my book going. And I said, well, I got a book company. And she said, no, I didn't know that. And so it was like,
just from there.
Yeah, it was just so perfect. She been bigger companies didn't want to do with her, but they wanted her to like really like bastardize.
Right, really kill. Right.
And that wasn't her thing. And it's an amazing story. There's enough dirt in there if you want dirt, but it's also just this great hip hop love story and the whole like all this hip hop history and like anyone who's just in LA or hip hop or anything like that would love it.
No, shout out to Darlene because I've seen her moving around for years, obviously, and she's just been on one of the most iconic album covers ever. But I reached out to her a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, I know you have a book out,
yeah,
and I know your perspective would be dope."
Yeah,
and she hit me back. She's like, "Let me know when I'm going to New York. When I come back, I'm there."
Exactly. Yeah. No, we're really. It's going to be our biggest selling book. It's just come out a couple weeks ago and it's already like blowing, getting on like Amazon charts and everything. And so yeah, it's really kind of putting our company Over the Edge Books on the map. She's been giving us big shout outs everywhere, talking about how we let her tell her story the way she wanted to tell it, and and all that. And the pictures are amazing. She took she was a fan, so she's got all these pictures of like the biggest rap stars and people like Mike Tyson. They're like so young,
Wow.
Like Mike Tyson in the Bronx with like Africa Bombada, just crazy. Yeah. Will Smith, like super young.
So P, how does that work? So she has all these photos that she took herself,
right? So she owns the rights to put them in like a book or something.
So once you take the photo yourself, that becomes your image. You don't then have to speak to the. How does it work?
Depends what you do with it. Like we can't make coffee mugs with the Will Smith picture, and like
right.
We can't make T-shirts even really probably with any of those pictures. Maybe if we did a collage, you know what I mean? Because there wouldn't be any one particular one that we were, you could do art books, prints, but not merchandising is another lane. So you have to be, but
be careful with that,
right? But she has the right to use those pictures in the book,
right?
Like,
What's the next book that you have coming out?
Oh man, well we did a deal with Murder Dog, the magazine, where we're re-releasing their content. Really excited about that. That's got like pictures of Lil Wayne. He's like 14, almost no tattoos and stuff.
Right.
A bunch of great stuff. We did a book with this young photographer, Who Is He? Deron Jackson, goes by Who Is He? He was following Kendrick around from like MySpace days. So it's like Kendrick and ASAP on the cover. So, we had done the first book with Mike Miller that had all the old school West Coast artists, and this is like all the new artists. You know what I mean? So not so much a West Coast thing, but just like the new school of music and things that's going on, which, I'm really excited to like talk about the past stuff and like document the culture and everything, but also be an outlet for new things that are happening too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not be stuck in that.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I love the new music.
I was just going to ask you.
Man,
you like the
Big Ty Dolla $ign.
Shout out Ty, the homie from LA too. Ty's a cool cat.
Hey, come holler at me. I want to put you in some movies. And
Ty is a cool dude, man. I met Ty like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
But I love Bad Luck and Problems and the whole scene that's going on. I'm a big fan, man.
Right.
Big.
So you're now really living out your dream, and it's funny how you were talking about you wanted to be a photographer, but it's kind of come full circle when you start talking about doing books and then folks that have all these iconic photos and stuff like that, not knowing that you were training yourself back then to really do a lot of the things that you're doing now.
No, I'm really excited, man.
You got these two movies. Like, what's next?
Well, hopefully, the reason I started the book company was because I felt like our culture isn't being represented correctly in Hollywood. So the idea is, and like Darlene's story is a perfect one. Like, look how long it took to get NWA's movies made.
Right.
Hollywood, come holler at us. We got Darlene's story.
Right.
It involves a beautiful young Latina, you know what I mean? Like Selena Gomez, or I don't know who could play her, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Right. But like, this is an amazing, her story's amazing. She had the abusive mom, her story's crazy, So just to tell these stories, and then hopefully that, I started the company to be hopefully like a urban marvel of sorts, where like, like we're putting out all this content that eventually gets turned into film and TV content, so.
Pete, through your journey, do you, and especially being so entrenched in hip hop, how were black folks responding to you being white and not there not being that many white folks that I think that the urban Americans felt that were really sincere about maybe their music and not just taking advantage, which most did think that. Like, how was your relationship? How did they look at you? Like, did you being white ever play?
I think it played always. You know, I remember Coolio when he found me, he's like, yeah, I want a white manager. And that mortified me, being from Baldwin Hills on the street with a black judge and a black brain surgeon. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that mentality is not healthy. You know what I mean? But, you know, so but I've definitely been discriminated against, that I was white a couple times at least, you know, and I've certainly reaped the benefits of being white on numerous occasions, you know what I mean? So,
Pete, so had you ever been in like a meeting?
I certainly don't get pulled over as much as the homies. I certainly don't get pulled over as much. And driving in them same neighborhoods, you know.
Had you ever been in a meeting where folks felt like
they could be comfortable and say something?
Not even be comfortable, where they were like, you know, they didn't really want to deal with the brothers, so hey, P is that guy who can talk to them and then come back and talk to us.
I'm sure. I mean, no one ever come out and
overtly say that.
No. But, you know, I pitched myself as that to people before. Like, you know, nobody want to talk to your ass. Put me in there, you know?
Right.
But, you know, I mean, you know, like, who am I? From the situation I came from, my upbringing, who am I going to be racist against? All the black people that were nice to me when I grew up as a kid. White people, like, self-hate, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't understand the racist, like, bone. You know, the gene, I don't have it. I hate it. In all forms, you know, any ignorance. So I just try to avoid it. And I just try to, you know, promote, you know, all positive things, though. White people can get on my nerves, though. I will say that, you know.
Man, they be tripping.
Yeah, definitely. But, you know, I just feel blessed, you know, that I was able to have the kind of upbringing that I've had and be accepted the way I've been accepted. So, you know, if someone doesn't accept me, hey, I understand that. You know, that's their prerogative. You know what I mean? So I never force myself. I've had so many. I'm the honorary, and I've had so many experiences where, like, people are telling me I'm so, you know, I'm so accepted by so many people. You know,
I think really because Peter. I mean, I've known you, Paul. I'm going back to the Entertainment Basketball League, so I'm going back to.
You're gonna age us
90 without aging.
I'm trying to look young,
right? I'm just saying, from the time that I knew, you've always been the same.
Well, you know,
for the most part, you've always been like a cool dude, accessible. I seen you out, you were always cool.
We all pull our pant legs up one at a time. I don't think because you discovered somebody who sold a bunch of records or something, you're supposed to be special or something. You know what I mean? Come on, you know. Hopefully, people have better training than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And all the ups and downs I've had in my career have certainly like humbled me if I wasn't humbled before. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, but you know, like I said, man, when you meet a lot of people that are like, my community is interesting because, like I said, we have all those intelligent, like, you know, successful black role models, but we right above the jungle. So I said, there's a unique, like Issa, who does the Insecure show on HBO, which is amazing. Everyone's got to watch it. You know, she had done this web series called The Misadventures of an Awkward Black Girl and got much success off that. Took it all the way to HBO. If that's not inspirational in Hollywood, where the lack of such a terrible lack of roles for women of color. You know
absolutely.
So, you know, but so a lot of us from that neighborhood, we have this really diverse kind of thing where, like, we understand, you know, a lot of different. So I feel very grateful. You know what I mean?
AM Caffeine Morning
and
Show.
I'm stay in the hood.
Right. Still, my man Paul Stewart, man, rocked with us for this whole hour. Paul, how can folks find you again, social media wise and all that?
Well, please check out Over the Edge Books, and I can be reached through that and all our social media. But I'm at Paul_DJP_Stewart at Instagram. That's really the main social media. I mean, I'm on Facebook too.
Right.
But you know,
that's the best way.
If you really want to reach me, you reach me on Instagram like that, or, you know, email me or something. My emails are out there. Go to Over the Edge Books.
Go find it.
If you email Over the Edge, if you email Over the Edge Books, I'm gonna get it.
Right.
See it, yeah.
AM Caffeine Morning Show's in the building, man. Ron C.
Yeah.
That's gems right there, dude. That's jewels, dude. Folks don't understand. That's why I wanted Paul here, just so folks can realize. And like he said, the ups and downs, but I feel he's contributed so much to the culture.
Thank you.
That I wanted to be able to, and I know the cat, so I wanted to be able to ask him questions that I've always wanted to ask him. AM Caffeine Morning Show's in the building. How we get down, man. We'll be back next week. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Ron C. Rhea Bia. Hopefully, Smooth D will be back. Anybody got some money, bail money? Because I know he's locked up.
I don't.
Oh, well, then stay there. Oh, over the weekend, that's the worst to be in LA County, too. Not like I know. I just know some of the homies that been there. AM Caffeine Morning Show. Before we get out the building, Ron C. Rhea Bia. In your mouth. Thanks, P.
Thank you.